little question for you.
Uh-oh.
You had a superpower. What would it be?
Get out of jail free.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back, Coffee with D-Ray. Definitely got a colorful episode here. My most colorful one, Dustin Schwam, tattoo artist, 477 Tattoo, right here in Victoria, BC. Hashtag YYJ. This episode is getting sponsored by Straight Up Supply. Gotta show them love. And man, this dude has stories on stories on stories. I could have talked to him for hours. But yeah, I gotta say though, if if you get offended easily, this one ain't for you. But definitely for the rest of us, some interesting things and so many years in the whole tattoo culture, tattoo industry. So dude definitely has been around and has a lot to share. At the very least, it's a lot of laughs. So without further ado, I'll let it go. Here's the interview. All right.
How's it going, buddy?
Good.
Thanks for having me around.
Hey, thanks for coming. Really appreciate it.
I'd high five you if I could in these COVID times. No elbow bumping.
For those people who are watching who don't know, you're Dustin Schwam, aka Dusty, aka what are the nicknames you got?
Oh, I don't want to get into that. I go by Dustin Jack sometimes because of the skate crew I'm part of, and he's one of the guys who got me into tattooing was Theo Jack, a world-renowned tattooist over in Europe. You can look his work up still. I think he's at infamous tattoo studios in Sweden. Okay. I got a couple of the names in my punk bands I don't want to get into right now because I wouldn't mind getting some customers out of this.
All right, well, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Actually, I guess I did get called Dickie was my name too down at Paradise for years because that was my apprentice name, I guess. I tried to call the cops on some drunken people in the square. One day my boss called me Dickie Peterson. He said, "You're the cherub of justice." So that name stuck for 10 years, unfortunately. Took a while to shake that one off, so don't call me Dickie. And we're golden.
All right.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I don't know where to start. I guess I'm a father. Right. Like riding skateboards, like heavy metal music. I play drums in a punk rock band. I sing in a punk rock band. I kind of waste all my money on buying records and drawing sort of lowbrow artwork. I stopped doing. I don't really paint too much anymore. I like doing mirrors now, doing designs on glass.
Cool.
And lots of tattoos. Tattooing everyone I can get my hands on, and all my friends and any kind of weirdo or anyone who doesn't know me or just people in general.
All right. So like, how did you find your calling to be a tattoo artist?
That's hard to explain. I remember I used to go tap dancing with my sister. Well, I didn't tap dance, but she did, so I had to go along with the classes. And I remember seeing the first tattoo shops in Victoria. That would have been 1979 down on Broad Street, which was Zane Hall's Universal Tattoo. They were upstairs up by the tap dancing studio, so I go in there and watch those guys, and it kind of etched in your brain a little bit. I had a big gym doll with a tattoo on it when I was a kid, Dr. Steel or whatever. He had kung fu grip and a big old dragon tattoo. Fast forward, I'm playing baseball and all that crap and hockey, and when you're a kid, you don't see Bobby Orr didn't have any tattoos.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or you didn't see Reggie Jackson with tattoos. And fast forward to skateboarding, I'm seeing guys like Art Godoy, Fred Smith, the loud ones, Jason Jesse, and these guys have tattoos and black eyes, they're missing teeth. I'm like, it's on. So that was rep bands, seeing the Cro-Mags in Thrasher magazine. Once I got into skateboarding, you'd see bands like the Cro-Mags. Harley Flanagan had a dragon on his chest, and at 18 years old, that was the craziest thing I'd ever seen in my life, an 18-year-old kid with a dragon on his sternum like that. And once I got tattooed there, I knew what he went through. Just even in comic books and stuff and movies, just tattoos that weren't even real. I mean, I remember seeing when I was a kid, my dad had that, he was watching that movie, The Illustrated Man by I think it was Rodney Steiger or some old British actor. I went back and looked at the tattoos and just fell on the floor laughing because they're not really tattoos. It's just some Hollywood's artist's idea of what they would have looked like in 1968. So right down, you'd see Rob Thomas tattooing Patricia Arquette and True Romance. I mean, that was pretty cool. So.
All right, so just
it's all over the place.
Inspired by like the surroundings, just being around the culture.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like, what was it like your first apprenticeship? Like, did you always get, was it always like
it was horrible,
clean?
It was awesome. It was beautiful. No, because it was different when I started. It wasn't like I was bugging people to go tattoo. It was punk rock, so I had all these turkey friends of mine in the skate crews and that and the bands. It's like, hey, you want a tattoo? Let's do one. We do a lot of that stuff, sitting on a keg and tattooing a guy. And, hey man, I can do old E, and it turned out I did a Z on this guy instead of an S. My first tattoo on Mike Ratcliffe, one of the Jacks guys. I only had 3 bottles of dye, right? The old dude gave me red and gave me some blue and some white and some black. So we tattooed Jacks on this guy's leg and colored it in with the red at the top and the blue at the bottom and white in the middle. And everyone's like, "That's American," and we're like, "Oh, and we're like, pardon my French," but just stuff like that. Just trying to tattoo. The first tattoo I did on this guy, we couldn't figure out why it hurt on Doug Copley. My buddy there, hey Doug, if you're watching, we tried to do a Misfits Crimson skull on him in the back of some punk house, and we did it on his rib cage, and he couldn't figure out why it was hurting so bad, and I couldn't figure out why after drawing 9 or 10 lines with this machine, there wasn't any black ink in his skin yet, just a big red bleeding line. So, where I'm better now. Yeah. But just stuff like that. I mean, it was all, but it would be stuff that I'd already I've been drawing and sort of lowbrow art for gig posters and punk rock bands and heavy metal bands. So people would be like, "Dustin, draw one of your skulls." The skate crew I was into we'd all wear back patches with individual designs. I'd draw a lot of those up, and guys would just kind of trust it. So, and after I did a couple of okay tattoos, I guess, and Gary and those guys back in the day, it was at Market Square. They were like, "Hey, do you want to come in and do an apprenticeship?" Because once I had kids, I guess they figured I mellowed out a bit. So I started late. They called me in for an apprenticeship at 30 years old. I started, so quit my job as a glazier. So because I got sick of getting cut up every day. I was working at a glass shop. But that's I met a lot of old kind of tattoo artists like that because windows got broken back then at tattoo shops. It was stuff was crazy. So I fixed a lot of windows. I had tons of tattoos. By the time I was 21, I had way more tattoos than most of my buddies because I put windows in these shops. Every 2 weeks I get a call from Universal Tattoo on Broad Street saying that a hooker had been thrown through the front window or the door. I'm not lying. It was like that. It was crazy in the late 90s. It wasn't like these shops were different than they are now. You couldn't just you walk into a shop now and it's 6 guys eating noodle box telling you got to come back in March of 2027 for your tattoo, right? Back then it's like, get me in the chair, man. They're shaking the guy upside down. Everyone's drunk and it's all bikery kind of gross and kind of rad.
All right.
I remember being scared for sure. I think the one of the first guys that tattooed me, I drove by his shop in my Jeep and I looked out the window and this guy gave me the finger, right? And I said, I'm going to go back and see that guy. And I think that was Gary Peak and Jeff Briggs who'd ended up opening that was Crystal Image in Paradise. This would have been 1990.
All right. Okay. Dang. A lot of history.
I think my first one, the first tattoo I got was Paul Rouleau here. That was 1987 at Tiger Mountain on Mary Road. So it was a legitimate tattoo shop. It was in the guy's basement suite. It was sketchy, but it was super rad. I still remember the smell of the place. So it just smelled like a tattoo shop, like the green soap and just all the stuff. And he had flash on the walls and the Huck Spalding book, on how to tattoo right there. And that should have been your first sign, right? When you go into a shop and you see a guy's got a book, how to tattoo, get out of here, man.
Now it's like tattoos for dummies.
Now's your time to go. But I mean, it was cool. There was the Tattoo Emporium out in Craigflower area. It was kind of sketchy there too. And then there was the artists were starting up downtown. Rob Forrest was just starting downtown at Crystal Image, and he was doing portraits in 1988 and mind-blowing stuff. And now he's still, I think he's still doing Genesis tattoos out in Vernon. He's one of the best, the black and gray game, like Bob Tyrell style stuff. Cool. But going way back, they were at Nootka Court right down by the Forge. So there was pretty crazy tattoo shops back then. Like I said, you didn't walk in and go, "I want a watercolor." Yeah. So you got a beer bottle thrown at you. Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah, but still cool. It was cool, right? It was cool to see the transition. This was, me and my skater buddies were starting to go into places like this. And my friend, Jimbo Thompson was one of the first skaters I knew who got into tattooing in Vancouver. And he was, the first spray painting all the tags at the Nappy Dugout. That him and Barry Walsh, all that graffiti. They were the first skaters started getting into the game and changed it big time. Pardon my French. But you started getting the punk rockers and the graffiti mixed in with the bikers, and then only a matter of time for people who go into actual art school start getting into the game, man.
Absolutely.
So I went to Mad Magazine for art school. You know, that was about it. So, yeah, drawing bad stuff, and you know, Dad's Playboys, all that kind of stuff. Comics, Archie comics, Eerie magazine, right down to reading the comics and the dirty magazines crack me up, man. Like nothing like reading some of those comics and Hustlers. So, and I put that into tattooing. Now I'll do stupid stuff if people are stupid enough to get it. We'll have fun, right? 'Cause it was
it's always good.
Pretty serious back in the day. And every now and then you'd see a tattoo sheet with like there'd be some funny stuff in the corner, and I'm like, man, I need to do a whole book of that, right? I need to get a whole bodysuit of that shit. But unfortunately, that's not going to fly with the wife at this point.
All right. Well, what are some highlights of your career so far? Because you've been in the game for a bit, so.
It's funny when you say that, because I mean every different tattoo is kind of a highlight. Yeah. You have fun, like something you crack up about something, right?
Right.
Like the other day, me and this guy were watching Night at the Roxbury. We had to stop and have a laugh break, man, because we're just having a funny time. So, but I mean, probably my favorite times are when I travel somewhere else.
Okay.
Going to the London convention, just because it was like, I've been to a few tattoo conventions, but the London one was just above everything else. It was just mesmerizing, and I got tattooed by a guy from BC when I went there, just to be a jerk. Who's great, don't get me wrong, but it's like, you're getting tattooed by Clint Danroth and he's from BC. It's like, yeah, so I was in France for 2 weeks, man. I was sick of French people. I couldn't wait to see Clint. So that was the best, right? And so that was a highlight of my career for sure. And there was guys there like Henning Jorgensen was there. You know, Yellow Blaze, Shige was there, man. You name it. There Bugs was there. All those guys, man. Corpse Painter. So it was in meeting all those people and then being cool. And it was because that was a convention you could go around and really kind of meet everyone easily. So doing guest spots in weird places. I go to Penticton every summer because I used to do the Ironman marathon. But every summer I go there, there'd be I go a couple times a summer and there'd be 2 or 3 different younger artists. And you learn something every time from these guys, right? They're not going to learn much from me except how to bank a quarter into a glass, right? Or how to roll a double wide. But whatever. We have such a great time. So I love the young guys. I've worked with some great artists up there. You know, Billy Gray. I worked with realism artists like Kyle Harding, who'd still sit down and do 15. We'd do 15 Maple Leafs a day on these marathon guys, which is a blast, right?
Cool.
So yeah, I think I did 31 one day. So that was my favorite day tattoo. Was just doing 31 little Maple Leafs. Yeah, I paid all the kids crap off before school that week. You know, send the money home.
Yeah, for sure.
Bring up a huge bar tab. I don't even know how I got home from the Okanagan, man.
We won't get into that. We won't get into that.
That's another story. That's on the late night edition.
Yeah.
2 days later, boys and girls.
So, I don't know. You might have already kind of answered this, but I always ask all the artists, "What's your creative process like? Are you just like, you know, bump the tunes and you just?"
I wait till I'm in big trouble. You know, you tell me, I can't tattoo you for about 4 months. So you wait about 3 months and 22 days, and then 4 days before their tattoo, you're like, oh my God, I better start drawing this. But I'm not gonna lie, I do that a lot. I'll wait, I'll book someone in, and I'll wait probably a little bit before the appointment. And I like to get up early in the morning, because my wife doesn't like Cannibal Corpse or Eazy-E, or you know, The Offenders or DRI or Suicidal Tendencies or any of my bands. Yeah. So, and I can work on. Yeah, so I'll talk to other artists too. It's always fun, and it's always good. I mean, one thing we didn't have when I first started my apprenticeship, you couldn't turn on the internet in the morning and get blown away, right? It's like I turn on Instagram and it's like there's Steve Butcher's on the internet, right? Like right away, bang, you can see what these guys do. And it sucks that I'm not as good as him, but it brings inspiration on immediately. I think sometimes you get up and you just see, like, I immediately see something cool and go, oh, I gotta draw. And you start drawing it, and all of a sudden that watercolor arm bracelet that your girl you had a crush on in high school, you promised her when you were half cut 2 weeks ago at the bar, you said you'd do it for her, you're like, oh, Christ. And you draw it, and but you're stoked because you're just kind of stoked on everything. So I mean, you make everything fun. So and you just like even the stuff you don't want to do, just make it fun, because it's man. I used to fix windows for a living, so the worst thing tattooing is nothing. Yeah, I don't mind. Bring it, man. Send me that stuff. Yeah.
So
but that's the process, and music is a big help. I like to. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't mind waking up and having my morning puff. I'm one of those guys. And coffee, and I'm kind of good to go. I'm pretty hyper and known for being a pretty intense dude. And if you catch me in the morning, there's about a 3-hour window where I'm not really even talking yet, and people are like, "What's wrong with him?" Except for on social media, that's usually when I'll get kicked off, and my behavior will be its worse. I'll get up something and see something, and I'll be like, "Oh man, that's not happening." Boom, You are gone for 30 days. Or they started at 7. They went to 14. Now they're giving me 30 days. I've been on Facebook 112 days this year. In the year. And that's the rest I've been in.
Man,
so
that's just getting into trouble.
Yeah, it sucks. So most of the messages aren't anymore like, hey, can you fit me in next week? It's like, when are you getting out, man? Like this. So it's not fair to my buddies that are doing real time in the big house where it sounds like you're going through this hardship. It's like, yeah, because you're not allowed on Facebook for Christ's sake. So I got to write my buddy a letter over at North Fraser. So is that my loud voice? No, that wasn't my loud voice. Damn it.
All right, well, you got your new spot set up, 477 Tattoo.
Well, it's not so new. I decided I did that in about 2014.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because that's when downtown started getting weird. Like my friends were coming and going, where can I park? And I'm like, Fernwood. Dudes getting their stuff ripped off out of parkades. Like there was sort of a double edge. It was getting hipstery at the same time. But nothing. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna say hipster because I'm an old fart. I was born in 1970 downtown in St. Joseph's. But I mean, at the same time, it was getting sort of newer, which of course I can't adjust to because they're going, back in the day. But and it was getting just with helps and all the sleaze too. All these jerks just letting them do what they want. My friends were getting ripped off out of their cars. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Eric came in out of Wolf Sheep. He's like, someone stole my CDs, so we're on the run trying to find street people with Turbo Negro CDs, man. Like, you got Eric stuff, man. Like. That was something happening. Vice versa, something would be getting ripped off from our shop and would be running up the street. I was getting tired of that. It's parking spots, and when they were available, they were becoming, $18, $20 a day to park there. And all of a sudden, you got a customer that's getting weird during an outline because he's like, you're like, what's wrong, man? You having a convulsion? He's like, no, man, I got to go plug my meter. Yeah. Right? It's because they're worried about getting a huge ticket or getting towed or a boot on your car. Yeah,
absolutely. That's the tough part, the challenge with downtown.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. But you
like I said, I tried to check with a lot of clientele first, and the guys who I'm at the shop with, right? It's like, hey, I feel like getting out of here, man. It's not going to work out. I mean, you'll still be able to make a lot of money without me. I want to go back out to Gordon Head, telling the clients that I wanted to go out closer to UVic kind of area. Would you guys be cool with that? The guys I worked with, they were cool. They're old bikery guys. They weren't into having Rolling Stones posters and Alice Cooper all over the wall, which I understand because they wanted me to focus at first. But after I got my legs, it's like, I'm going to turn this place into a heavy metal dungeon. So it's like a man cave down there. Upstairs to my house looks like how normal 50-year-olds would live. It's boring. And then you go downstairs and we got a Kiss museum, record collections, you name it. We're going to try to build a skateboard ramp there pretty soon. We got new cop lights for guys who are off probation, man. We got a Lisa Helps dartboard, you name it. Everything behind glass. So epoxy floor. It's a fun place to be, and it's safe and it's clean.
I'm gonna have to take some footage and show everybody what's
up. I don't like to put it. It's one of those things I don't post like, oh, here's my place. It's like I like to let people see it. They show up and they go, holy. Yeah. So it's fun. So even people who don't. Like, let's say I got 70 skateboards on the wall, but all the people who don't ride a skateboard still like it. They're like, oh, that's crazy. Look at that. There's Bob and Doug McKenzie on a board. So even if they don't like it, they'll still find something to look at.
There's a lot of character there.
Yeah, it brings light into the space too, man, because you get that shine coming in off the boards, and you can wipe them down easily.
Right,
And then, heck, I'm going to ride them one day. Yeah. If I end up in a slump again, right? I'll tell you right now, anybody who wants to buy 6 or 7 Dwayne Peters boards, he just said he's a Proud Boy, so I've got 6 of that jerk's boards for sale. Yeah. Jeez. So
more like burn them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we also want to see who's going to come to buy them, so that may take a lump out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So so you're good with the private setup, because you have everything set up.
Oh, I missed that.
Or do you miss the traditional
I go to my plans. The last time I went to my buddy's shop and did like a guest spot we do like Friday the 13th or Halloween, and I met 4 cool people that day that I wish I had all tattooed, right?
Yeah.
Kind of thing, but it's like, and then you can't just you meet those things and go, hey, come to my studio, fucking blah 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 blah. Some guys pull that, and that's just not cool. That's greasy. Yeah. But at the same time, you kind of miss that. But then at the same time, you don't, right? Because 6 ladies with baby carriages come and go, yeah, and you're like, I don't miss that at all. So it's a double edge.
Yeah.
So it's funny, man, because I guess if I'm having a slower week or something, or somebody usually not slow, but like say somebody cancels. A lot of my appointments nowadays because of COVID, I'll do one. I like to stick to 1 or 2 appointments a day because the one appointment, then a big cleanup, and then another appointment. and or just a bigger one, right?
Right.
So it's if someone doesn't show up, you're kind of out of work for the day, and if someone else has made an appointment down the road, you can't go, hey, no one's in, come on in. But there's always some guy owe money for trade work, like my t-shirt guy's good for that, or my landscaper guy. There's a few guys where it's like, hey, come on in, and they're like, okay, cool, call me. So I always make sure I've got an on deck list. Like I'll tell people that too. They're like, when can you get in? I'm probably booked up till tonight. No, I'm joking. I'm booked up like January maybe. So if someone said, hey, when can you get me in earlier than that? I'll say, yeah, you're on decks, because I'll guarantee you, man. If one of my friends, they're gonna cancel on the weekend, man. And it's always like, thanks for the $20. I'm keeping it, man. I'm gonna go do the same thing you did on Friday night with your money. But
we won't get into that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
if you take a big enough deposit, they're not going to cancel, right?
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, if you take $100 off some dude and he's been out all night, he's going to come in dragging his butt. Oh, you got my $100, and then it's just a waste of time for everybody. So.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I only know this because I was that nightmare customer first. I remember giving the artist a couple $100 and going in over the weekend and taking $20 off of it here and there, and going in to get my tattoo on the Monday. I think it was at Gary Peak and Zane at Universal Tattoo on Craigflower Road, and I went in to get my tattoo, and Gary's like, "You got $20 in your kitty, bro." So like, I think I could have got half a leg outlined or something off the dragon I was getting off then. So
just got the stencil on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about you tell us a short but sweet convention story?
Oh, I got a couple. Megan Massacre, I'm like, oh, I want to get my picture taken with her, and I'm like, hey, can I get my picture taken with you? And she's like, yeah, get your phone out. And I got my phone out, and I couldn't figure out my camera, and she's like, how long have you been tattooing for, bro? And I'm like, a while. And she goes, you can't operate your phone? I was like this. And at that same convention, my friend Juan was staying up. Hey, Juan, from Black Cat Tattoo in Port of Art. I look him up. He's killer at realism and all that stuff. Anyways, we were getting into the beers there with the biker guys at the booth next to us. So we, at some point, I turned my phone off because I remember I had to go to my 30th year grad at Mount Doug High School, where I graduated. My friends were all looking forward to seeing me, right?
Right.
For some point in the night, I turned my phone off, and my watch battery had stopped. So I kept thinking it was 7:30 at night, and I'm just buying round after round. I get outside of the convention center because the security kicked us out because they informed us it was 1:15 or whatever time it was.
Oh man!
Yeah, and I missed, so I drank through my whole. And then there was the other time, I won't get into it. I'll tell you the last one. Me and Ori Pereira were at the Calgary Tattoo Convention taking Bob Tyrell's course, and I'd been in the beer garden the whole night before and most of the next day. And Ori drags me. He's like, "Hey, you got to go to Bob Tyrell's seminar. Don't be an idiot, right? Don't embarrass me." And we're in there, and we taken the seminar or whatever, and people are asking him questions, and I'm like, hey man, who did your killer James Hetfield tattoo? I love Metallica. And Dimebag Darrell had just been shot out of Pantera, and he's like, that's Dimebag, bro. Ori's like, you dumb jerk. So that's it. I'll leave it at that. Oh, and the other guy too. Sorry, one other one, man. This guy walked by, and I went, hey dude, who did your Roy Orbison tattoo? And he goes, Dustin. That's not Roy Orbison. You did the tattoo, and it's my deceased brother. And I turned around, and the guys, Wade and Randy Stratton were on the ground rolling around laughing at me. And this guy was cool about it. So I think he goes somewhere else now. I think he might get work done at the zoo. Or, I think he's at Union, I think. Yeah, he's one. Hey, boys. No disrespect. I do. Yeah, I did want to give shout outs to all the crews around town that are still around that didn't screw up and do anything stupid.
Yep.
So I'll leave that at that.
Yeah, for sure. So given like how far like tattoo culture's come, from the whole biker military thing to like how it is with everybody.
Well, now my Auntie Linda's got tattoos, man. Yeah, and it's not
right.
Exactly.
It's like how common it is, and even the face tats. Well, what do you think it looks like 10 to 20 years from now?
Some of the face tat guys might regret stuff for sure. You got some of these sort of, what do they want to call these YouTube rapper, these, all these kind of guys. So, I mean, I'm not going to lie. My first, the thing I thought that was the coolest, there was nice tattoos, but when I saw Henry Rollins, and he just had a snake on his arm, man, and the Black Flag bars and Misfits, Some Kind of Hate, I was like, whoa! Mm-hmm. I saw Master P just had the Ice Cream Man. And he started, when the gangster rapper started getting into that kind of trip, I was like, this is kick-ass, man. Yeah. And this is how it should be. So it's like I'm all about this stuff where it's tattoos are bad still. You know, I still have that attitude, man. To me, Facebook's like being in grade 2 and your teacher is senile and can't hear or see, right? So it's just like I have a fun time with all this, man. At some point, I got to get serious. I have been known to get serious. But yeah, like the scale of art's just insane. When you got guys like Steve Butcher charging $9,000 for a piece now that he can because it's that good. I mean, and you see some of this stuff, like Jeff Gogue. I mean, it's just you know, Nico Hurtado. It's just, and then there's guys that have their own style. That's all they do. Like the writing guys, it's insane. You know, it's like people are like, I want to get some lettering. And I'm like, well, look at this guy's stuff. And they're like, yeah, but I want you to do it. And it's like, you need to go to a hospital. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. But you build a character too, and people just want to hang out. I see that a lot. People would like, they could go get tattooed by some rich and famous dude. They want to come and get tattooed by me and hear about how the time I fell off a fire escape naked, you know, or tried to fight a rowing team on the way home with a leather jacket on and no pants, and I come home with the raccoon eyes, right?
Definitely the experience getting tattooed by you.
Yeah. You know, yeah. I was here. That drives me nuts. I'll tattoo somebody and I go, who did that? And they go, I don't remember. I'm like, oh yeah, who did that? And they go, well, you did, man. Yeah, because you wait and chase that guy out of the shop and you burped on this man. Blah 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 blah. It's like, see, you're gonna remember anything. If you get tattooed by me, you're gonna remember that. So it's gonna be it's on you for life. You got to make the guy remember it, right? So I got tattooed by a few guys who it's like, you know, what are you using there? Tattoo dye. It's like, cool, I'm gonna steal this guy's jacket on the way out the door. You know, like, well, you just get. And there was guys who I tattooed right because I knew right away that I was probably gonna get into it. So certain guys were super cool,
right. Like
Jeff White up in Penticton. Now he's been a Victoria artist for years. He was really instrumental in starting me. You know, and eventually Gary Peake gave me the job at Paradise. He started so many Victoria tattoos that won't admit it. I won't name any because they're probably looking right now and embarrassed. But I still go by and say hi to them. But a lot of people are gonna be like, I didn't work there. You know, because there was guys with stolen motorhomes coming through the door. There was bikers. There was gangbangers. There was bums coming in. This crazy lady came in, dude, and we stenciled her, and she gave us $70 and was like, "Thank you," and she ran out the door. So it was nonstop, right? But a lot of people worked there, and some artists worked there, and I could see they were just scared. Yeah. You know, and then and at the same time, this wasn't a place we were going to conventions and studying Bob Tyrell's skill of work. You know, it was like, get the money. Get this guy in the door and get his money. Shake him upside down. Get that money. You know, I think I made $11,000 one July, and they're like, yeah. So don't tell my ex-wife that. We spent it all at Sweetwater's or what? Yeah, there was a bar on each side of that place, right? But it was also a gong show because you had the Salvation Army on one side of Market Square, and then Kool-Aid. So we learned how to fight, man. It was street people getting into it every day of the week on the way home. And Gary would be like, you got to go up that way home every day. That was part of my apprenticeship because he's like, you got to go start shit on the way home every day. And it was always something happening outside. You walk outside of Monty's, it was on. You know, just the bus stops around them was bad. So something it did clean up a bit. I'm not gonna lie. It seems like it's kind of a ghost town now, but it's sure a lot more relaxing until you get up, of course, to the Pandora area. Then it's just heartbreaking. So
yeah, it's
that's sad.
Definitely some challenging issues.
Yeah, man, it's a drag
in the city. But
yeah.
All right, we're getting close to wrap it up here.
Yep.
But so what advice would you give any like young aspiring tattoo artists or people just starting out? What kind of advice would you give them? Because like right now,
don't tattoo your friends and do crap on yourselves because you think it's going to look easy. Study everything first. Decide what kind of tattooing you want to get into. I mean, you hear about artists back in the day who, like Bob Tyrell, was going to be a portrait artist. I'm sure he just did a lot of artwork first. When we started at Paradise, like Ori Pereira came in when he was 17 years old. His artwork was already tattoo style. Yeah. Right? What's her name? Sarah Savage. Like these girls would go around and they'd go on trips and that to Europe and the they'd see they draw it. You know, just stuff like that. You know, the Savage she was into the manga and all that kind of stuff. Sonia, all these girls were into different stuff that they kind of bring elements into, right? Right. So and you got all that kind of that gentle sort of touch, man. So I got new girls that just do stick and poke only now. So and they do it good, but. I'll still be covering that up though in 20 years. Bang! Bang, 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 bang! No, stick and beat it. No, sorry. No, there's a place for that. That's the thing though in tattooing now. There's a place for everything. So you can be one of those, back in the day, or you can do whatever, right? As long as you got customers that you're making happy. And they're going to come back and see you, right? And spread the word to their friends. So
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's the thing. I don't got a storefront in this day and age, so I can't be rude to everybody. If someone's like, "Hey, I got your number from so and so," and it's like, what tattoo was it? Oh, it's a picture of a shark with boobs, and it's like, well, okay, cool. What do you want? Well, I want my kid's name. It's like, wait, I thought you wanted a shark with boobs too. Let's do a shark with 3 boobs. But no, so you got to be cool, right?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
everyone's as cool as you think you are. So.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks for having
it.
me, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of crazy stuff to unpack there.
Tip of the iceberg, my man. Tip of the iceberg. Yeah.
All right, we might have to check on you again in another year
Yeah.
and see what's up.
Yeah, we'll write a book sometime. Yeah. There's actually a really good book you can buy by Chris Walter. There's a Tales of the Tattoo Studio or something like that. There's a story of mine in it, so it's incriminating. You get your hands on it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, and
Yeah.
we'll leave it at that. That's
Yeah,
all right.
thanks again. Right on. Keep on tattooing, everybody.
All right.
So there it is. That's Dustin Schwam, 477 Tattoo. Man, crazy. Dude got stories. I told you. He's been around the game for a long time, seen a lot of things. So I can only imagine those partying and conventions back in those days. Anyway, I wanted to throw in a big plug for him. If you didn't know, dude is in a couple bands. He's in a Thrasher band and a punk rock band. Punk rock band is called the Keg Killers, and the Thrasher band we got here is called Fully Crazed, and they got a new album coming out this spring on Cursed Blessings Records. And then the Keg Killers will have a live album coming out next summer. So if you're in the big punk rock or the Thrasher scene, or you're just out here in Victoria and you like those events, when things get back to normal, I'm sure they'll be performing and doing all those kind of things. So just wanted to give a shout out there. And also I'll put any more information if I'm missing anything in the description. So once again, thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And at the very least, hey, just show someone some love. What goes around comes around, All right. Take care, y'all.